2020 is almost over, thank goodness, and there were a lot of good and bad things that happened in Marvel Strike Force. And for this installment of your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update, we're going to take a look back at the good and the bad. And with me is my brother Remanx, and if you're ready for it, Remanx, tell him what to do.
MSF 2020.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? I am ValleyFlyin. Welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel and your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. This week, I see you. I see what you're doing there. I am joined by Remanx, and he is excited because today we are talking about the top events in 2020, the best and worst things that happened in Marvel Strike Force. And there's a lot to cover. This was a very crazy year. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content, and hit that bell, hit that notification bell as well, so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. But brother Remanx, man, 2020 was a crazy year, and we're gonna talk about some good and some bad. What was your favorite part of 2020, just in general?
I think it's been the MSF community, man. I think just being able to connect with them and face these challenges together, and just seeing how they rose above everything and came together. Just proud to be a part of the community, really, absolutely.
A very good community we have here, and thank you to all of you guys that are part of the MSF community and is making this year what it was. And I guess let's get to this list, and it's not in any particular order, or it's kind of an order, but we're gonna go back and forth between some good. We'll talk about some things that are still up for debate, some bad, and then we'll get back to the good again to end this on a positive note. But let's start with one of my favorite things of 2020, and it's a pretty recent thing, and there's some recency bias here, but this little button right here, this Sim button, and you got a preview of it. You got a preview of it before everybody else did.
I did. Oh yeah, in the raid scenario too, Valley.
Yeah, and
I used a little harsher word than than language that I probably should.
The raid one, they're still working on it. I think they haven't brought it out to the game yet.
Yeah, but I'm not sure they need to yet. Especially with difficulty 3 out there.
I gotta say though, I think this is my favorite part of the year. Where does this rank for you as far as top and bottom of 2020? Because this Blitz Sim might be my favorite part.
So I love it. I feel like with a ginormous roster, it's going to benefit me more than some other people. I think it's impacted a few people potentially negatively. Some of the like hardcore blitzers that were able to get in top 100.
Yeah.
Are telling me they aren't to do it, but I think the majority of the community is happy they don't have to spend as much screen time doing a mode that they barely cared about.
Yeah, I think the score, some people benefited, some people went down, but screen time and the time savings, I think, benefits everyone.
Right, hold on.
Whoa.
22 million. What is that? What is this even? 22 million?
Are you talking that it's too high or too low?
22 million. What are you doing? Oh, it's the screen time thing. All right, I get it. I understand why. I was to be like, wow, that's crazy. Way to skew the numbers for this special event here.
It's craziness. Well, I got a blitz, dude.
Oh,
I don't have a choice with these milestones that we have going on, but all right. So this is a very good thing for me. Next, and I do want to, and this is another recent change to the game, and let's go here because this is my biggest character I have. This ISO 8. Now, a lot of the community had a lot of trepidation about this, thinking it would be something bad. Yeah. And to be fair, in some of the initial versions that were tested, it was pretty bad and it was not very fun. But there was a lot of
RNG in the initial stuff. But it's interesting how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, and you're the expert on this, and it gives you a lot to theory craft, the community a lot to theory craft, which is the best class, things to test out. How does this rate for you? Positive, negative, indifferent? And how strong do you feel about these ISO 8s? Because I think this is one of the best things of 2020 to come to Marvel Strike Force.
I love ISO 8. I do like the fact that it is not some randomized component. I think that there's still a lot of concern of what characters bring to level 5, and I think you and I will talk about that next year.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely some real good theory crafting. I think when people start reflecting on their own rosters and are saying, I did this because of this. It feels like it's a lot more of a game of chess than just checkers, right?
Yeah, I like there's so many different effects that you have with PvP. Different teams. You could make teams. You build them a little different. You know, if there's a great team like the symbiotes, you don't have them built up enough. You could put a healer class on them, and if you wanted to do different things as far as damage and getting a lot of these special effects, you could use some of the more recommended class of this. But it gives a lot of flexibility, and it's progression based. That once you put these. What is it? The crystals on these characters, it stays there, so you don't have to keep adding it every time you want to switch up a class. And then it does cost a lot of ions to get up to level 5 or certain class, but once you buy it, it's done. You don't have to buy it for that character again, and I do appreciate that.
And I'll tell you something that we've learned recently looking at Dark Dimension 4 and these new raids. There might be reasons to change some of the characters. And I think that's kind of fun is to basically, with just a flip of a switch, and a lot of ions, you can change the characters' levels and have it work a little bit differently in some different formats, which I think is something that needs to be reflected upon.
Now, most of the recommendations we have for ISO 8 right now, do you expect a lot of changes to what is currently on your main list in 2021, or do you expect a lot of classes to stay the same?
If I was going to look in my crystal ball, I'd say that somebody told us that coming spring, we will see some additional levels of ISOs coming out there, and I think that might change the impact, especially as we start seeing some characters being brought up to higher levels. Yeah, I think it was with, I think John Durr mentioned it when he was talking to Cerebro.
Okay, it was in the strike time.
Strike time, yeah.
Okay, got it. I've watched that once and I went back and looked at different notes. Okay, so they did say spring. Okay. Other thing that I really enjoyed about 2020 is Ultima 7. I mean, when people first got into this, it was very tough. But now with these difficulty sliders, I like that there's a lot of different difficulties. And I think one of the challenges that the dev team was making more raids. But I think this is a way that they could use little resources as far as time and make it a little different for us to play. How do you feel about these difficulty sliders for Ultima 7?
So I feel like there's really like 3 big factors. One, it's great for us as content creators because we get to showcase how we use teams and interact with our audience a lot more. Number 2 is, I think, having a challenge in the game where it isn't easy to overcome. Despite all of the joking and frustration aside, it can showcase the progression of your roster. Reason to progress is another, a reason to kind of celebrate when challenges come out in that regard. I think the rewards have kind of been they tweaked them a little bit, but I still think they're a little askew when it comes down to it, especially when you're looking at the the Greek sliders. But I think what 4 alliances are now 100% the Greek sliders.
We'll talk about the Greek sliders because I'm just specifically talking Ultima 7. I think that's a little more. Right, I think the Greek sliders a little more up for debate right now. A little more wait and see right now with that one because there are some wait and see things that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, and one of them is the Greek raid slider. So let's go ahead and talk about that while we're in that. What do you think about the difficulty, and then as far as the rewards? Because I enjoy the difficulty. The rewards are a little up for debate. Do you see them changing some of these rewards as we go along, as you see some of the community complain about the rewards don't really match the difficulty level of these Greek raids?
So one of the things that I kind of liked about the U7 was they added T4s, and it was a little bบmore T4 flow, and that was something that we were missing from as far as a progression standpoint. Is some of the T4s were actually needed to help progress towards your roster and other categories. The problem with this is you have to take such a wide roster and build such a wide roster up to get to the higher level difficulties of this, even to the point where some alliances are struggling with difficulty 2 and beyond to 100%, because they just got they have got a wide variance between their top and low end rosters, how they develop themselves. And so I wish there was a little bit more rewards that were designed towards progression, like a little bit more gold, a little bit more maybe even T4s, but more importantly, like G14, G15 materials, like like evolution of orbs kind of has to happen, in my opinion. And I'm kind of surprised that a lot of what is left for G15, it's just your RNG from what you buy in the shop or out of an orb, like the war orbs and what you see in your war shops. So, these people that are in Dark Dimension 4 right now, I'm almost in there, but I just haven't had the same RNG that other people have.
So what do you expect to have happen with these orbs, these rewards in 2021 for these Greek raid sliders? Because I think that's something that the community wasn't happy about. We know the dev team is going to be gone till maybe mid-January or so. So probably not a response from them about this. Do you think some of this the heat that the community has right now is going to die down before that, or they're still going to be heated enough to say, hey, we need to make some changes to the rewards for these Greek raids?
So if we look at like the community as like a litmus test, right? There's probably the Krakens who are like, who are running a sprint, even though they're in a marathon. They're always in the front of the pack. And then there's, the free-to-play players who are probably, aren't as impacted because they can't build their roster up to this level anyway. But then there's like the lion's share of the community that kind of fits kind of right in the middle between those two categories, right? So the problem is how many of those folks have hit level 80? So it's gonna be when I think people hit level 80 that they're gonna either feel the pain or think that maybe it's accessible because level 80 is part of the puzzle here. I think it's level 80. It's probably GT15 for some specific characters. And it may even be built for ISO 2, so tier 2.
All right. Well, hopefully this is. I think the rewards need to be adjusted a little bit. Like they did adjust the rewards for Ultima 7, those difficulty sliders when it did come out, but we got some weird timing with the release of this. So this is kind of a wait and see item. Another wait and see item I'm having. I know the community is really not liking this, and they're tied together. Real-time arena and Battle Pass. I'm kind of optimistic because I think I like the framework of this. I like the general structure of it. Some of the things need to be fixed, in my opinion, like the matchmaking, like quitting. And they did say in their blog post that they're going to be addressing these things. But what are your thoughts on real-time arena and the Battle Pass right now? I know we're discussing a lot of these recent things. We'll get to some of the other things, but what are you thinking of these, and what changes are you expecting in 2021 for these two things?
So I think there's got to be, it's interesting because they show like a click and they show like an event. So it looks like there's, and leagues as well. So it looks like there's a framework in place for them to do a lot more with this. And I hope the leagues honor the original draft mechanic. I feel that's something that a lot of the hardcore PvP community is frustrated by, because that really kind of allowed that team building. Because right now, the bands of Minerva, Thanos, and Venom, that's, well, you took away a couple of pieces of the puzzle. It didn't take away, the lion's share of like the Zemo Emma problem that's in RTA, right? So I think for a lot of people, when it comes down to a competitive game mode, I think the draft is going to be a huge part. So I hope if you're listening, you honor that in that regard. And like I said, but my question for you, Valley, is this a release mechanism for Zemo? Do they consider Zemo widely available?
I don't consider this a release method. I mean,
it doesn't matter what you or I think.
I don't consider it. I'm not sure if they're considering this as a release method as well. Only time will tell, which is why this mode and Battle Pass is up for debate. We're only in season 1 as we're recording this right now. So who knows what's going to happen in season 2, season 3, season 4. I think after a few seasons of this, that's when we'll get a better gauge, which is why for me right now, Real-Time Arena Battle Pass is kind of in the middle right now. Not necessarily a positive or a negative from 2020, but for me, it's a wait and see. I want to see what happens in season 2, season 3, what changes they bring to this.
I think that's the right approach. And I think a couple quick things. I just want to remind people, you don't have to do all the objectives. You don't have to do all the knockouts. You can kind of pick your path and do either like a little bit of both. There's a lot of points in there that don't have to do it. And I think in hindsight, I don't know if I would have bought the extra $20 if it wasn't bought for me. So I bought the $40 battle pass.
Yeah, I think a lot of people should just wait and see. Like, I didn't buy this the battle pass until I knew, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all 100 rewards. But for the first week or two, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I don't know how much I'm gonna be playing this thing, and I ended up playing it a lot, and I kind of enjoyed it, even though a lot of it is auto, and I wish there were some different things that's happening. But yeah, I'm gonna hit these, and there's no reason for me to get it, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get there. So yeah, wait and see is probably the best approach with the battle pass when the season 2 rolls around for everybody.
I think that's actually a good thing that they rolled it out that way. That you don't have to buy it like an impulse and then regret later on. But so yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So one more thing as far as indifferent for this, and this is right here. Now, as we're recording this, nobody has passed this. As this is airing, Scopely Fixed Price is probably done with this. But Dark Dimension 4, considering that as we're recording this, nobody has finished this. And what is your impressions of Dark Dimension 4? Do you think this is a general positive or negative? I think this is going to be a lot better than Dark Dimension 3, which rewarded just resources and not a character. What are your thoughts?
So we were able to feature Scopely Fixed Prices a lot on the stream and showcase them going through these nodes. And already it's a lot more about solving a problem than it is about overpowering the node or surviving.
That's good. That sounds good.
So I think it's really cool because it's kind of led us to use characters that I'm going to say this right now that may even overlap in PvP because they have a lot of those control elements built in. So it's interesting because a lot, those control elements are also characters that probably excel in war scenarios too. So stay tuned. I think it's going to go over probably as one of the more fun Dark Dimensions for people. I think people are the overall feedback is, I guess anything's better than DD3 was, especially global.
Yeah.
But the overall feedback has been they like the challenge, being able to figure it out, and it's been a lot more rewarding.
Yeah, I kind of like DD2. DD2 seemed more like a puzzle. DD3 seems just like, you just got to overpower. And I guess that is it for our middle and the first part of our positive. Let's talk about one of the negatives here. And this, you mentioned already, Dark Dimension 3. This is probably one of the worst things to come to Marvel Strike Force in 2020. Dark Dimension 3, not a lot of strategies. Building up the characters, overpowering them, and using characters like Minerva, Phoenix, every mod that do percentage-based damage, and now Ghost. But what was your impression of DD3 when you first went in, and in hindsight now that you're looking back on it all these months later?
So and part of it I think was I made a ton of mistakes. I brought up things like Trooper and Sabretooth and instantly regretted it. Because it was just they were just getting punished. I was getting punished for the choices I made, right? And so it was that simple. It was literally like I threw chum in the water while on a Baywatch episode.
Oh my goodness! Who would do something like that? That sounds like a dirty person.
That's a terrible thing. Has anybody
such an evil person to do that?
If people haven't seen that episode, man, that guy just ValleyFlyin first appearance on Baywatch. We'll talk about that later. You have to throw that link in the comment. I think. Oh
my goodness! No, there's gonna be other links. The Amazon Coins link, guys. It supports the channel and it can save you some money. So click on that.
Don't worry.
Coins.valleyflyin.com, guys.
Exclamation point Valley in my chat if you guys want to see it.
That's fine. So yeah, DD3. I wasn't very happy with that. I'm glad it's done. As you can see, I went back for a third time and just said, that's okay. I'm not going to do this again.
So I've done it 4 times, and I did it.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
So the first time was it was like why am I doing this? And then the second time through, except for global, I got it done in about 4 days.
Okay.
And global, it took me 4 days to get through global because I didn't want to spend cores on or refresh it. I kind of wanted to take the approach of if I had made the best choices possible at the time, how long would it take me to get done? And so that is when I really started talking to Mobile about we made that DD3 video where we talked about don't bring Ultron.
Yeah.
And so, and by the way, he still has some value there. So but he just wasn't as good as some of the other tech characters you would need. That being said, My goodness. I brought up a lot of characters because people were like, well, what can I use this character in Dark Dimension for? And the majority of the answer was no, they were terrible. It didn't make sense. So I brought a bunch of characters to G14. And it's held me back a little bit from this G15 progress. But yeah, it's definitely, they didn't have the same impact. If you didn't have the percent drain, that was just, and I think even the developers admitted that it was a miss, right? If the developers can say, hey, we had a Phoenix problem.
It was that was the exact wording they used. It was a Phoenix problem that made it like this. So I'm glad they separated for DD4 because it sounded like it's a much more positive experience. They've learned from their mistake.
We'll have to see when the legendary nodes pop up when we have Maw and Phoenix on the same node. We'll have to see how they account for that.
Oh my goodness, they're probably gonna be nightmarish. But talking about learning from mistakes, there was some valuable lessons learned this year from Scopely. Do you remember what this is about?
Yeah.
The hit the books milestones. Now, guys, if you don't remember what this is about, there was a ton of extra orange gear that went out, guys. To people in some of the earlier time zones like Australia, like some of the Asian countries, and there were rollbacks. So this was the introduction to the event.
We're not sure they ever got fixed, buddy. I'm just gonna say we're not 100% sure that they got fixed. And there's two pieces of the puzzle. Some people wound up worse off, some people wound up better off, and they rolled the dice, took their chances, and that's how it worked out.
I think the people in the Oceania countries and the Asian countries that got this and opened it, unfortunately, ended up worse off. They were better off for a little bit, and then everybody that didn't get affected by this directly, I think because everybody got affected by this indirectly, ended up a little better off. So this was one of the worst debacles in gaming history as far as a dollar amount of the resources that they sent out.
Didn't they go to Polygon? Didn't Polygon pick it up?
This was covered by a lot of mainstream articles, and this probably one of the worst screw ups in the history of the game, being second to the snap that happened back in 2019.
I just feel bad for Jeff trying to find a job during this time of COVID here.
My goodness, if Jeff is not employed, it's gonna be a tough time with this on his resume. The solution to this though was as a recap, they made a mistake with a valuable lessons login and the amount of orange catalyst orb fragments, giving some players not 3,000 fragments. 3,000 orbs, ladies and gentlemen. It was huge. So they gave some compensation. But I think the good thing is we've seen a few bugs since then, but nothing major. Like if you remember the beginning of the year, and that's another big thing. Pretty much every single update, there was something majorly wrong, and sometimes it would take a long time to fix. Sometimes it wouldn't. But we had a lot of bugs this year, and this is no exception. This is no exception.
There were bugs this year? No way.
Yeah, that was one of the major complaints of the community that I asked on the stream this morning, is all of the bugs. My goodness, how much it was pretty much every update, right?
Every update, every character released, there was something. It was. I mean, and I get the unique challenge that both COVID and we can double down on the COVID excuse, because COVID and the release schedule for the movies, and just. And then we have to talk about the transition of Scopely into from Fox Next to Scopely. I mean, it went from a Marvel property to Scopely's hands, and a lot of uncertainty probably contributed to some of what we're seeing here. So, I mean, I'm far from an apologist in that regard, but I just so we're facing one right now, right? The Dad Bros, they're getting extra. They're getting extra. Speed and it's not
fixed until next update.
It's not addressed yet. So my concern is how are they supposed to work? So how do I tell people what to buy when how to buy them? Right? It's a little bit of a problem.
It is, and it's going to be here for the next update, which means it's not just now, all of January, because I think the blog post said they're not getting an update until February. So we got another month of the Dad Bros being awesome, and then what happens? What happens with them?
So I'm trying to showcase them in a way that they're not utilizing the feature that's bugged, But so as far as my analysis goes, it looks like I've captured that correctly.
Okay.
So hopefully it seems to be when they're assisting or when they're getting assists, it seems to double down on the speed bar. But so I can still think with confidence that they are working the way that they were intended to.
Okay, so what exactly did you do to test to see that they are working how they should? And then we'll talk about these negative things.
Yeah, so I guess there's a method to, if you utilize them when they're getting assists, they get additional speed fill. So if they get assisted, they're getting 40 or 60% speed fill if the target's crit. And then if you use them in the way that they're designed, just with initial crits, they're doing a little bit better.
Okay, so you're just making sure that they use no assist to test them.
Yeah, assists seem to be what's causing the major bug.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to wait till February of 2021 to see to see how they work with assists and see how good they are at that point. Other huge bug that happened this year, and I guess it was Decimal Point Jeff in action again. It was the Emma Gate. All the red stars for Emma Frost. They were not available, or they were supposed to be in orbs. Players opened these orbs, and she wasn't there. So instead of giving them more orbs, they gave out direct red stars for Emma Frost.
Yeah, I know it actually did claim a few players that I knew that they quit the game over that. Now again, I always say that they're looking for an excuse.
Jeff, you got to stop this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so here's the ironic part of it. So they were upset because they pulled higher red stars, but it's because they bought all the offers and then they were given just a small handful. Why some people were given like 5 red, Emmas, and so unfortunately, I think it's tough because they solved the problem too well. And how do you fault somebody for compensating a problem too well, right? They owned up to the problem.
Well, I mean, here's how you fault them. It creates a disproportionate advantage. They may have gotten those 5 stars in that pool. They may not have. It's determined by RNG. But when you give it out to everybody, you're guaranteeing that, and not everybody was given that opportunity to guarantee that. So that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is.
This isn't the first time that's happened as a victim
what?
This is as a victim of previous red stars not being rayed up. This is the first time they've given compensation over it.
Yeah, it's happened in the past, and I guess they're overreactive with this. But
they own the mistake, and I really don't want to fault people for trying to do the right thing.
All right. Well, this is a major problem that I'm going to bring up that did get solved. I'm going to post to the point of the solution, but shell alliances were a major issue in 2020. This is, I guess, the league's kind of fixed that a little bit. I mean, a mobile gamer was on, and he was playing a shell alliance as we were the morning that we were recording this. Yeah. So. They're still going on, but not as prevalent because of these new leagues and the change of rewards. How much do you think the community was affected by all these shell alliances?
I don't think a lot of people were shelling. I think it was actually some folks in the top alliances trying to get top level rewards, and I think it was probably it was enough that it had to be addressed so that more people didn't take advantage of it. So I'm glad they addressed it. But I guess the thing is, what I'm happiest about is they really addressed the rewards so that wars didn't feel so disproportionately bad. Yeah. Like when you lost the war and you were in gold 4, it felt terrible because you got barely any rewards compared to the winner. And they made the rewards, they built that tier so that it wasn't as punishing, even for losing and so there wasn't as much value for the top season ranks either.
Yeah, so I guess this could be both ways because it started off as a negative. Their solution to it created a positive. So good on Scopely that they fixed it in a good way.
The only people who didn't get affected by it was Cabal, Legion of Cabal, right? They're the only, because they were number one dog. Is they were the only people who weren't affected by it at all. Everybody else got a little bump. Think about it.
Yeah. I mean, they're the top alliance all the time. I think even in their losses, they get a lot of points just because their collection power is so crazy. But all right, next thing. We got someone Fountainable recently, and yeah, you're shaking your head.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm still upset about this. I'm not okay.
This is super recent, dude. This is another super recent event that happened. And I guess there's some recency bias, but Minerva was not farmable. We were almost at 2 years that she has not been farmable, or I mean, fountainable, excuse me. And now Cull is getting that same treatment. It's been a few months that he has not been available. I think most people, with the introduction of Proxima Corvus, was hoping that Cull would be the next member of the Black Order that's farmable, allowing people to get there and power Thanos. But no, he's exclusive to the premium orbs right at the end of 2020. Is this a major disappointment in 2020 for you about Cull being non-fountainable?
Well, I don't have a 7-star Cull.
Neither do I.
So I opened up a lot of orbs because there wasn't an orb opening event. So I opened up a lot of orbs, and I got 2 Cull.
That's not good. Well, yeah. I guess you're gonna have to blitz harder when his blitz comes around.
Well, yeah, or just buy the orbs.
Yeah. Well, that's what they want you to do, though.
Well, to be fair, he's still in other orbs. Like he's still in the so he's not just he's a little bit differently than other characters, which makes me wonder if there isn't another reason behind this. And if you guys know, in my channel, I've been talking about like the fact that he's still in basics and he's still in mega orbs. There's maybe something up with that. Maybe they haven't figured out exactly what to do with them yet.
All right. Well, this is definitely a negative. I hope you're right. I hope he does come to one of these fountainable nodes soon, or it comes to a store very soon. But yeah, it's good that Minerva went to the war store. So I guess a major negative with is a decent good positive.
Yeah. But well, Minerva is an impact for a lot of players, especially newer ones.
Yeah, newer one trying to get into DD2, get Minerva. She's gonna help you with that mode. That's the key to. What is his name? Ultron, very good character. All right, speaking about one of the worst of 2020, this event. Do you remember this event? The Anti-Venom event?
We talked about this earlier. Not really.
All right.
I think I wailed on him, so I don't think I spent as much on it, but I know the milestones were pretty
They were rough. They were rough. And this, for me, and maybe it's just me picking this list, but this was probably the worst event of 2020. Yes, the rewards were good. Yes, the character was good. So it's not totally worthless, but that's what made me want to do all this blitzing that I felt was unnecessary for this silly character. And I'm glad that this is not, well, I don't know what's going to happen with Red Guardian when he comes out, but this was not fun. But at least, actually, we have Blitz Sim. So hopefully we don't have to go through this again. But what? I guess you don't remember this event.
Well,
this was not good for me.
So I made a video. We talked about it. It was almost impossible to get a 5-star as a free-to-play character, which was one of the frustrations. But I think that was the same format that they used for other characters, like NTW and others, right? It was.
It may have been, but I guess maybe it might have just been the straw that broke the camel's back, because the other events didn't seem as painful. This just seemed horrible.
He was an essential part of the best team that we've seen in game in a while, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why as well, because we knew he was gonna be so good. Negasonic, we were kind of questioning. He's like, all right, do I go this hard for this character or do I not? But yeah, this was horrible. For me, at least. But the other thing that happened around this time, all these bio characters. We had Scream, we had Swarm, we had Electro. Doc Ock was not bio, but we also, between the symbiotes, we had She-Hulk come to the game as well. So all is She-Hulk.
Okay, got her.
Yeah. No neck when she was released. All the bio characters, how painful was that for you in Reminiscent? I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean, and I hope you guys know what I mean as well.
Yeah, no. If I look back, I will say Bio Crunch is the tech crunch that we had when Pimtech came out, and the Mutant Crunch that we had when X-Force came out, and it seems
and we're gonna go into 2021 with a Mutant Crunch, right?
It is what it is. I mean, they release themes of characters, so it's one of those things where you just constantly have to change themes. The good news is, over time, when the skill characters come out, oh wow, here they come. You'll be ready. You'll be ready for them.
Yeah. Well, they are coming out, so hopefully we get good ones.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing, and I mentioned her briefly, and I say her because I feel one of the big missteps of 2020, and not just me. This was suggested by the chat this morning on the live stream. Is as I scroll all the way down, because I've not built this character, She-Hulk. Now, she has a neck now, which is good, but when she was released, had no neck, and Fantastic Four. Little surprising that she was on that team, but she is a member of the Fantastic Four. I was hoping for a Gamma team, but war defense. I think that's some of the big complaints of the community. The neck got fixed, but still a war defense character. Do you expect her to end up on another team in 2021?
Hope that I don't expect anything anymore. I just hope.
All right.
I put it in under my pillow just just in case that my dreams come true someday.
Yeah. Well,
but on war defense, it's pretty scary that we have so many war defense teams, which makes me excited that we're actually seeing teams that are non-war offense or defense designate.
Yeah, the Doc Ock and his symbiotes and then the Wave 1 Avengers look pretty good, but let's talk about some good. Let's get after negative. The good. Let's go back to the good. And for me, one of the best things about 2020 was some of the new characters. We got some great teams, some fun teams, 2 really strong meta teams. Actually, let me just show them right here because I got both of them that I've been working on. Just these are the characters that I'm working on. The symbiotes, the Black Order. I think these are the 2 of the most fun teams of 2020. How do these teams rate for you as far as some of the releases of 2020?
I think they're probably 2 of the best teams in the game, and obviously one being the arena meta and one being just so good in everything else they do, and potentially, could auto the arena meta as well. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm actually a big fan of X-Force, of X Factor, of everything except for Pimtech. Pretty much that came to the game. Pimtech is such a disappointment. It was like a burst of bubble, but a lot of awesome characters that happen to come to the game.
Yeah, so these are 2 of my favorites. But guys, in the chat, let me know who are your 2 favorite, or who are some of your favorite character releases in 2020. Let's talk about events. We talked about one of the bad events and the valuable lessons and that Anti-Venom event for me. But I think a lot of the community really enjoyed this Fun in the Sun event. A lot of good stuff here. This was the last time we had an orb opening event.
Don't start it, Valley. You don't start this. I'm not going to answer it anymore.
This was.
I don't know. We're not going to talk about it.
But yeah, we had a lot of good rewards. We got to open orbs for this thing. We got to get rid of some of the red dots on our roster, on our loading screens. I think this is a very, very fun event. What was this one of your favorites of 2020, or is there another event that's standing out in your mind?
I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I like my chimichangas and Deadpool especially, so they kind of go hand in hand, right?
Yeah. Well, I liked it. We got some good rewards for this. I thought it was very good. It was a very good summer event, especially with all the things going on this summer. And that kind of leads to some of the other positives that the community was talking about. We Scopely purchasing Foxnix from Disney. There was a lot of questions in 2019 going into 2020. What is this going to mean? What's going to happen to the game? We know Disney wants to get rid of it. Are they going to sell it? Are they going to get rid of it? And we got our answer in 2020. Foxnix was bought by Scopely, and I think a lot of people had fears of what would happen to the game. But I think Scopely has done a good job. I think the game is in a much better position than it was at the beginning of this year with this whole fix MSF movement going on. A lot of anger in the community, and I think they've turned around. And the chat this morning wanted me to mention that this was a very good break from all the stress and some of the weirdness of 2020. That this game allowed them to escape reality and things like that. So what are your thoughts on Scopely as a positive of 2020?
And from a perspective of we now have a stable video game. I mean, think about it. It was Fox and Disney and then Scopely. So I think the stability will help them in the end. But more importantly, I think I think they unleash the power of their community managers.
Yeah.
I feel like the presence of Cerebro and Zeke's in the community was just an amazing impact, you know, from the level of communication when bugs happen, acknowledging things, even if we sometimes think that their tongue-in-cheek answers might be misplaced. They were, it was definitely just a really solid communication experience compared to last year. I think it's just been a steady flow. We get excited for the blogs, and the blogs have become an event. And I think it's something to be said for some of the way the company's vision has been expanded.
I really enjoyed playing this game and making content for all you guys, and it's because of Scopely and the job they've done, and purchasing this game from Disney, because as we know, Disney doesn't want to own the games; they want just to license out their IP. So the perfect balance here, and I think they did a good job despite all of the negatives that we talked about and all their missteps and all the bugs and all that other stuff. But I think overall this is a very positive experience. Another positive thing that happened, this guy Wolverine, he was removed from the daily milestones as being there for so long. Now we're getting some SBCs and some ABCs in his place. What do you expect any good things to happen for Wolverine in the future? In 2021,
he's not getting any worse, buddy. I'm just going to say that right now.
No,
he might fight his way onto another X-Men team, but you know, he's kind of I've given up hope after the 12th rework that he's going to be something he's not. But we'll see. We'll see. I did it. By the way, I T4'd his ult because they were like fastball special. We're gonna, leave me alone.
So I shouldn't do this right now.
No, God, go, no.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm glad he's out. I hope he finds a home. Right now, he doesn't really have a home. As we're talking, he doesn't really have a home on Uncanny X-Men, on any other mutant team. He doesn't really have a home on a hero brawler team. I don't know where to use him. So I hope he finds a home. I hope 2021 brings Wolverine a solid home at the very least.
Until Beast is farmable, I think he's still a staple for a lot of people's X-Men. So.
I don't know. You got Psylocke and Storm and Cyclops, and you get some good characters there instead of just Beast.
Cyclops, there's a burst damage mechanic. There's a few different mechanics. I know that some folks have some success with Wolverine. I don't think I'd bring him up to G13 again.
Yeah, I'd not recommend it. Hopefully there's a reason to do it in 2021. All right, and I guess in general, this is a better thing. I don't think the system is perfect, but it's better than we had in 2019. Red Stars, they got reworked this year, back in April, and we had some changes to the promotion store, which you're shaking your head. I know that was a big negative, but they've been pretty quick. I mean, sometimes before they even go to normal orbs, and been quick to add this thing. And that was a big scare of the community when this happened. And I think they've done a pretty good job with that. And we've got a more influx of red stars in our inventory, and just a lot of changes to this whole system, which is bad, which is probably the worst mechanic in the game right now. And they've done, I think, what they could to change it. Would you like to see more changes to the red star system in 2021?
I feel like it's a big catch-up mechanic. If you just started the game right now, especially if you're farming a character that doesn't have a rate up, right? Mm-hmm. It could be many months before you see an upgrade, and you've got a lot of characters that are probably targetable on your roster for upgrade.
Yeah,
I think they need to start looking at like a milestone where they start making that stuff more available as they make like the next level of ISOs available, because they kind of stack on each other for potential, especially when we start going to numbers higher than 10%.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think this thing, just the flattening of this power curve, was something that was huge.
Yeah,
It was like this boom before. Now it's more of like a steady line. I apologize, I hit the mic, guys. But,
no, that was great.
That's how bad it was. That's how bad the red star. That's how bad the power curve was.
No, but you're 100% right. That actually, like I said, flattening the curve on that was perfect.
Yeah,
I didn't like the conversion for the promotion credits because it felt a lot worse. But I've opened a couple more elite credits and elite orbs as a result, and I feel like I've gotten a lot bigger benefit from that.
Yeah, I think the major negative was the change in the cost of the promotion credits without really announcing that too far in advance. And then they brought it back for a week so we could convert it if we wanted to. But yeah, that was probably the biggest misstep of this whole rework. Let's talk about another generally positive thing that came to the game in 2020. And that is Doom. Doom More, Chapter 1, 2, and 3. We wanted new content. We wanted new campaigns. We wanted new ways to farm characters, or not new ways, but new nodes to farm characters on, and we got it in Doom Chapter 3. And for me, I think the biggest positive of this is that it shows that they can add more campaigns. So we're not just limited to heroes, villains, and Cosmic Mystic. We got Doom, and they could add a Galactus War or something like that in the future, and that is what gives me the most hope. What are your thoughts on Doom War? Do you think this was a major positive for the community?
Yeah, Doom War basically saw, as of the last patch, all of G14 gear farmable, and legitimately farmable, not like orb farmable like Cull.
Yeah.
But it's a big difference, and so that does basically put you in a position where you can start tracking your progress if you want to start entering things like Dark Dimension 3, or you need to start farming gear for Dark Dimension 4. But from perspective, I think it also is good because it has enough of a challenge for rosters to help kind of decide, like you'll know when you're like, as you're building that roster and you can get through that. I think it's a good enough gate that you'll start widening your roster for a lot more of like the war mode, stuff like that, to help you progress.
Yeah, I agree. Now, that is about it. Is there anything you feel I missed in the chat? Let me know, guys. Positive, negative. Remanx, before you go, what out of all these things, or maybe something that wasn't even on there, what was your top thing in 2020? What was your favorite thing that happened in Marvel Strike Force?
Seeing your episode of Baywatch.
Oh, awesome. What a great year for you. What was your major negative in 2020?
For major
seeing the episode of Baywatch as well.
No, major negative was realizing how negative effect that chum would have on those sharks.
Oh my goodness! I had two options, brother. I had two options: to eat it or just throw it in the water. So it didn't look very appetizing.
Yeah. I saw by the face. Did you win an Emmy for that?
No, not even close. Not even close. All right, it's always fun, my friend. Now tomorrow I have a video with Goofy, top 10 wish list items for 2021, guys. So let me know what you think I should include in that, guys. And Remanx, always a pleasure, my friend. Let me know if there's anything you want in 2021 as well.
Anyway, to all you guys, happy holidays and happy New Year, and we'll catch you soon.
Yes, thank you once again, brother. Make sure you check out Remanx. He's an awesome dude. Remanx on YouTube, on Twitch. He is all over the place, and he does a lot for the community, guys. The ISO 8 spreadsheets, all the other. There's another one I can't even remember off the top of my head. But he's the master of the spreadsheets, guys. He does all of these things for the community. And if you want info, legit data, he does the testing, and as he indicated with the dad bros, guys. So
I do things you don't have to, and unless you should, then we can.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. All right, Remanx. And guys, if you want to save some money this holiday season on all your in-game purchases, make sure you check out the link coins.valleyflyin.com. That'll get you your Amazon link, and anything you purchase through that, the channel does get credit. Anything through Amazon that you purchase that link as well, the channel does get credit. So yes, check that out, and I will see you guys next time. Remanx, always a pleasure, my brother. Give me a hug fist bump before you go, and check out some of my other videos, guys. ValleyFlyin, Remanx out. Oh yeah, baby.